Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor. Today I wanted to talk about some questions and some complaints about some eBay issues that I wanted to address. The big one here that I hear a lot about lately is that eBay is adding best offer to listings when they're just buy it now options. There's many reasons this could be happening, but I can state as fact that eBay does tell you if you've signed up for eBay, you accepted their user agreement, which allows them to do updates to the policies constantly. They do a fall update, summer update, whatever the update is wants to be called. Those are the actual changes to the policies that they have. And if you didn't read them, that is actually something that's on you for not knowing that this would happen. They don't have to tell you anything else. When you clicked I agree to the user agreement, when you signed up to get your spot on the site, you acknowledged all of the facts that they can change. This isn't a public site. It is a private site, so they can do what they want. But addressing the issue is another thing. I know it can be frustrating to those who are new or those who've never seen it happen to them before. It pretty much doesn't happen to the people who have bigger stores and have been on and relist and do things constantly. Not sure what they're pointing on this. I heard it was to help address issues when people aren't sure on the prices, which I don't think should be something they should do. But for the most part, some of the folks who I've actually talked to, and I've talked to probably now a dozen people, and then I've spent probably about 25 minutes reading boards on Reddit posts and things like that, literally talking just about this and how angry people were. Again, they did tell you through the updates. So again, I'm not trying to make light of the issue or upset anybody, but you were told the minute that you signed on for eBay, again, as I said, that you will get updates that will change it. And it is up to the responsibility of each individual person to read those updates to know what has changed and what hasn't changed. So again, if it bothers you, always read the updates. Read your entire user agreement. I remember a famous South Park episode with the human centipede takeoff for the iPhone. I think it's Kyle signs the user agreement, never read it. It's a perfect example of this. Have I read the user agreement? Yes, I have. Have I read the whole thing? I've read it from start to finish. I read every update that comes along. It's worth the extra 20 minutes of time to read it, then the aggravation that'll come later on. There are ways to address it. If you're listing from a phone, what eBay has done now is actually given you the most usable and most used features. For example, if someone uses Buy It Now, the majority of people, and it's a high percentage, the majority of people use best offer with Buy It Nows across the board. You can look at it yourself and do comp searches on sold items and look at just straight sold items versus auctions and Buy It Nows with or without best offer, and you can see across the board that that's how it works. And another complaint I had when talking about these issues with the phone apps is people were mad that eBay didn't offer the same thing to the phone app and blaming eBay. Now, it's not an eBay issue that a phone app cannot handle every aspect of the major application that you use when you're on a laptop or something. A phone is a very small, minute portion of an actual full-fledged PC. For the most part, it's a stripped-down version. The apps are minuscule compared to actually the coding that it takes to run it. You're not using a full-fledged browser. You're not using a full-fledged PC. There are limitations to your phone. They have to make an app that's where it works across the board. So there's limitations to many people's phones. In fact, the majority that will not allow you to do every single feature, or let me say, put that information onto your phone to do this. So if you download an app, it only takes a few moments. You're only getting a small portion of the feasibility and the stuff that actually an app can do because, again, it's a shortened version that will fit and work on your phone. You don't have as much PC power. You don't have as much RAM, your memory issues and such forth on a phone. So, again, there are limitations on your phone that do not allow eBay to put every option on your phone apps. And that's the same for any app that you use. I don't see it's penalizing anybody because, again, it's a scientific IT limitation based on the science that's in the phone. So, again, it's not eBay trying to screw anybody over. And one thing I can tell you, if you do the advanced listing option, you will be able to check off and get rid of the best offer option on the listings. It's in the listings, for the people who have stores and things. Obviously, it's a different story because you don't have to worry about it. I've never had one of my listings flip that way. Of course, there's very few that I do that do not include best offer. There's nothing wrong with not using best offer at all. Again, everybody has a different experience and a different take on what goes on. And just because I say something doesn't mean it works for everybody or work for anybody else. I tell you what works for me. So anyway, usually everybody's using the quick list option is from what I see. I use the advanced and everything. I want to be able to adjust and look at all the options. And another aspect, just because you click it off on one listing and then click sell similar, the next time around it could again have best offer on it, and a lot of people miss it. You might miss that little tag because when you go to list an item on the quick list, it's automatically going to have best offer option clicked if you're actually doing it as a buy it now. You know, and that's literally how it works. So, you know, you've got to make sure that you're unclicking that. If it's not an option, it's grayed out. You just need to go to the advanced listing. And if it's not on the advanced, you need to call eBay, because I haven't seen any time in any of the listings that I've looked at in the last, I spent an hour or so looking into this. I looked at, as I said, all the Reddit boards. I looked at and talked to a dozen different people, subs, and other people who have said they've had issues. Not everybody who's had issues, because I try to get ones that I've actually dealt with before and that I've talked to, so I have some basis on their knowledge, I guess you'd say, on what they're talking about. So again, if you're new, it might just be the fact that you didn't click a button. Just like when you get your automatic returns accepted, if you don't go in and remove that feature, a lot of people, when you log in, it automatically accepts, you know, returns, because there's a little radio button that's flagged in your return preferences. And again, I've discussed that in another video if you'd like to look into that too. But there's a lot of options on your listing. Another one that people get caught on is they'll accidentally, when they're typing in the title, click the bold, highlight, you know, the title with bold. And that's $2 extra, and you might not notice it. So before you actually ever hit list this item at the bottom of the screen, you always look and see what your cost is for that listing. Every time. And if you need to know what the cost, what you're being charged for, all you have to do is click on the amount you are being charged for, and it's going to tell you what it is. I'm going to flip to the screen in a minute. I'm just going to go into a listing, and we're just going to show you the option and what the advanced listing option looks like. Again, if you're using a phone, you don't have all the options. You don't have the ability to do certain things. You can't even edit some things from the way I see it too. I'm a PC person, so you know, I use everything on a laptop or a desktop. I've always been that way. I have an app on my phone for eBay, but I don't list off of it. You know, I have a decent phone. It's not junk, but I'm more a PC person. I can do it so much quicker on a PC. I've got more power. I've got more computing power. I've got direct internet plugged straight into the PC, so I'm not worrying about transfers and towers and things like that. So again, that's what I do for me. Again, you may have perfect, you know, record with listing off a phone. That's fine. Again, just because I do it my way doesn't mean that it would work for you. You may have better luck some other way. But again, if you're using a phone, you don't have all the features, and it's not eBay's fault. So we're going to go over to the screen for a minute here, and we're going to show you the listing, and I'm going to point out some of the buttons, and we're going to show you how you can tell what everything's being charged for that listing. But we're going to go over there right now. Okay, this is just going to be a quick touch on this. I mean, I'm sure most people do know where it is, but on some of the listings here, like if you click this box here on the title by accident, and I've done it myself, it charges you $4 extra. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is if you go down to the bottom and you're wondering what the fee's for, all you have to do is click on it, and it's going to expand and explain the entire fees for this item before you list it. And instantly I can tell that it's a bold click that I did. I'm doing the $4 there. So again, I always recommend just double checking at the bottom. We never hit list an item. We never come down here and list item until we've checked and make sure that the price is correct. And this is the advanced version of it that gives you some options. You can customize it a little bit and add some things into it too, but you can't do this on the quick list option. So I always list this, all my listings, as a advanced listing. That way I can come in, I can change up some stuff, and like, you know, the buy it now options here, and I can click off that or click on it, whatever you want to do, but this is basically what you want to do. And like for policies and stuff, now I've set all these up, so I know that nothing's going to get changed. I have, but if you haven't set up a return policy, I would recommend setting up your own policies. That way it doesn't do eBay's automated version of it. and it's automatically set to be on for most people when you're new to eBay. So you will actually have to go and turn it off so it doesn't automatically accept returns for other issues, which I showed you in another video. But again, everything that you do on here you can change and alter on the advanced version, and you can save it as a draft and then come in and relist from drafts as well. But again, there's many options. You just need to pay attention to this. As I said, the biggest one was, double checking down here for your price. And again, if you need to know what the price is, just click on it. There's one more option here that I always recommend you looking out for in display a large photo in with the gallery. Sometimes when you list the item, it actually had free gallery listings, but later on, they've changed sometimes in the past which listings have the free listings in the gallery. So sometimes that'll kind of screw you up a little bit, and you'll have to go back in and alter that aspect of it. I don't believe there's a way to mass alter the include in the gallery plus. So again, that could be an issue with some folks too. I don't remember what it charges on here, but let's just go down and see what it says. Sometimes it charges you and sometimes it doesn't based on the category you're listing in. And right here again, it doesn't on this category. I used to put it on every listing, but since we found out that they can change them from time to time, it would have said total listing fees here, and it would have added a fee to it if it wasn't included in this category. But again, they're not included all the time, and they have switched them up, so that would be something else you might want to look into. But that's literally about all there is to it. I don't see any other features or anything that you would really have to worry about. But again, if you're listing and don't want that best offer option, you can remove it. You can come in and do it from the advanced listing. They're supposed to send you a notice, but don't expect to get a notice on it because, again, as I said, it's in your user agreement that you agree to any changes, and by you continuing to use eBay, you are agreeing to the changes that they do not bother you and you are fine with them. So, coming back and say it shouldn't be legal and things like that, that has no bearing on it because you signed the user agreement, which allows them to do such things as this, like adding the best offer. And again, if you have a store, this isn't anywhere near as much of an issue from what I see, especially if you list a lot of items or list, routinely, even a small amount of items that you relist routinely. It shouldn't happen to you. But again, if it has a best offer, you can just decline the best offers. There's no big deal with having it on there. Even if you aren't accepting them, it's not going to hurt you. If anything, it would draw more people to your store and actually bring you up probably on the search results because the majority of people do actually sell on the best offer. That is almost always a better option for most people. Again, not all items are good for that. I have a few that are, buy it nows, but without a best offer. They're usually lower end items, and I price it that way. And again, I don't include shipping with anything. So, I've heard comments it's going to ruin my, my profits because of shipping and all. If you charge for shipping, it's not an issue. It just depends on what you sell, as I said in the past. Well, there you go. That's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gives you some ideas and some thoughts on that. Again, if you haven't read the user agreement, that's really something you should read. It literally lists everything that eBay does. It lists all the options, what they've changed, how they're changing it, how it will affect you. The main user agreement, the summer updates, the fall updates, they all are important information. Don't rely on a video or a YouTuber or something like that. You need to read this stuff yourself, and you need to understand it. If you still can't understand it, then reach out. But if you haven't read it to begin with, that's on you for not knowing this is happening. Again, they don't have to tell you anything. They've already told you through the user agreement and through the updates what's going on with eBay. Every company does that. Amazon have had similar things go on. Etsy, whatever you're doing, there are user agreements in there that affect stuff like this. But that's what I have for you today. I'm sure I'll get some hate mail on this. I always get hate mail when I make these kind of videos, but I'm trying to inform you on what it actually is, what's going on. And, you can't just blame eBay every time for not telling you it was announced, it was something that's discussed. You can go on there right now and see it on some of the pages. I've seen notices. I've had people tell me emails were sent out. It's stuff that's going to happen. It's changes that have been announced. So, anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.